Hello guys, welcome back to the Steve Perez video. So in today's video, Steve is on his way to pick up his Mercedes that crashed a month ago and Steve gave it to be fixed. And Steve is super excited when the car is fixed and Steve is very anxious to see his car. And after picking up the car, Steve has to pick up his cousin Anthony. And Steve hopes that my Mercedes will be better than before. And then a little while later, Steve is at his Mercedes and Steve Mercedes is looking brand new. And Steve used to be very anxious without his Mercedes and Steve is so grateful to God that the Mercedes is back. And Steve is also very grateful to all his fans who have been so supportive of Steve. And Steve is even more happy that the Mercedes is back before Steve's birthday. Then after a while, Steve's cousin Anthony also gets into Steve's car. And Anthony also wants to ride the Mercedes with Steve. And Anthony is very excited and Steve gives Anthony a fun ride in the Mercedes and Anthony thinks the Mercedes ride is cool. Then after a long ride, Steve and Anthony come back home and Steve is very tired. And Anthony is very sleepy and then Steve is about to sleep. And then in the middle of the night, Steve hears a whistle from the ground floor and Steve notices that Anthony on the ground floor and Anthony whistling and Anthony does not look right. And Anthony seems possessed and Anthony is dressed very strangely and then suddenly Anthony runs backwards into the basement and Anthony also makes strange drawings on paper. And then Steve finds Anthony in the garage whistling and when Steve touches Anthony, Anthony suddenly scares Steve and Anthony is pranking Steve and Anthony is acting possessed. And then Anthony prank shows up and Anthony prank is too crazy for Steve. And Steve never thought that Anthony could pull such a prank. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I have given the link of the official video in the description. You can also watch their official video. See you again on a new video. Until then, take care.